Yes. They are.
I think when you think of the old Frank Sinatra song, I Did It My Way, I think John Gagliardi may have been who Frank Sinatra was talking about. I think we always try to steal little things from successful people. I know I do. And so you try to pick up things, and you notice somebody's doing well. And back in 2003, one of my players went to St. John's and came back the next year and just had a glowing report on how the football program was run. And so I had an interest in sort of looking into that and seeing, okay, who's the coach and what are they doing? And I found that this was a man that had so many creative ideas that most, if not all, football coaches simply didn't know how to implement or just refused to adopt. But it allowed him to win more college football games than anybody in the history of college football. Take a look.
It's hard to pick which stat is the most amazing when it comes to John Gagliardi. Is it that he was a player coach in high school? He was the head coach at 16 years old. Is it that he continued to coach and win in college until he was 86 years old? Or is it simply that he won more games than anyone in the history of college football with 489? Take your pick, because his is a story that will never be copied. He grew up in Trinidad, and coaching found him. In 1943, he became the player coach when the head coach left Holy Trinity for World War II. The high school student who was a coach then became the college student who was a coach. While attending CC, he was also coaching at St. Mary's High School. Gagliardi was hired at just 22 years old to coach Carroll College in Montana. He led them to 3 conference titles. He was then hired away by St. John's in Minnesota in 1952. Thus began a 60-year tenure that saw 465 of his collegiate wins. One with 4 national championships. The way he did it became as noteworthy as how often and how long he did it. He's already in the College Football Hall of Fame, and tonight we welcome John Gagliardi into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame.
You know, I'm really happy to be here. When I say I'm happy to be here, believe me, at my age, I'm happy to be anywhere. Now, to get an award like this, really a guy should have the decency to be dead. You know, I coached into my 80s, and when I got into the 80s, people start asking me about when I'm thinking about retiring. When are you talking about retiring? But so I had to start thinking about it, and I knew that I probably should have a couple of guidelines, and I knew that when I started to forget to zip up, maybe I should pay attention to. And I knew that when I got to where I start to forget to zip down, that was really going to be something to pay attention to. And the third thing, I can't remember the third thing. I thought I could coach forever, but forever is a little longer than I figured. And so I had to finally give it up a few years ago. But way back in my youth, when I'm growing up in Trinidad, Colorado, there were two people that had, two of my heroes were Jack Dempsey from Manassas, Colorado. God, what do I keep saying Colorado? Because I'm in Minnesota most of the time. And so anyway, Jack Dempsey and Whizzer White were my two probably heroes. Well, and Jack Dempsey had a great impact on my life, really. Because I remember when they asked, well, I read where he was asked what it takes to be the world's heavyweight champion. He said the number one thing is that you've got to get up off the floor when there's no way you can, but if you want to be the champion, you got to get up off the floor. And of course, I told that to my team all the time, not off the floor, but they got to make great rallies. And of course, the other thing he said that it takes, you got to be at your best on Friday night at Madison Square Garden, which is where they had the big fights in those days, before television. And of course, Whizzer White showed me that you could be a great athlete and a great student. And we try to live within that thing. But anyway, for me to think way back then that I would be mentioned in the same breath as those two guys, it's hard to believe. And to be in the Hall of Fame with them is impossible to believe. Maybe I'm really still dreaming, I don't know. But, to get in this Hall of Fame, I really didn't ever make a tackle, a block, yet I have great players. And I had some super players. Players that made me look like I knew what I was doing. And some of those players are here tonight. Would you stand up, you guys, way over there? One of them, of course, finding players like that to make me, as I say, look like I knew what I was doing. They won a lot of great games for me, and I've been lucky because I consider them part of my family. And the beautiful part about these guys, not only do they win national championships, but they have gone on to have national great careers in their lives. They've all, so many of them had wonderful careers, and I'm proud of the fact that they continued to win long after they left St. John's. So, but where I have been lucky, like many of you, I had a wonderful family, mother and father that pretty hard to beat. I know some of you think you had a wonderful mother, but she couldn't beat mine. And I had 5 sisters. My God, how did I survive that? One of my sisters is here tonight. Roseanne. And of course, 2 of my sons here are here with me too. And they both played for me at St. John's and did a great job for me then. One guy went into, he's a chemical engineer with 3M. The other guy got carried away and followed me into coaching. And he was my offensive coordinator, and did most of the. He didn't get too much credit. I got all the credit for his great offense and great deals. That's the way it goes. So, what, you know, I have, teams like the players and the coaches, they all make you look good. I have two wonderful daughters too, and unfortunately couldn't be here. But where I was the luckiest in my life, I've had a lot of lucky deals, like I say, but somehow I met this good-looking chick. And first I dated her roommate. And then I saw her and I figured, oh God, what But I called her for a date and she said, well, oh, you date my roommate. I said, yeah, but so I made a big mistake. I said, we can't hold well. Fortunately, her roommate got another guy and did much better than she had. She stuck with me, probably. This guy became a millionaire. Anyway, Peggy somehow gave me a mercy date, and I knew I was out of my league. I knew I was going to out-punt my coverage. I knew that I tell you what I had going for me. The thing that carried me through most of my life. I had ignorance and confidence. I was too dumb to realize it. She's way out of your league. But I was stupid enough to ask her for a date, and by God, here we are today. Peggy, would you stand up? I have to tell you about a time I was awarded something in Minneapolis, and this has been quite a few years ago. And on the way back to St. John's, I was kind of quiet, and Peggy asked me, why are you so quiet? What are you thinking about? I says, and I forgot to tell you that the postmaster got carried away from postmaster. What the hell do you call these guys? Anyway, he got carried away with himself, and he called me a great and noble man. So on the way back, she said, what are you thinking about? I says, I don't know, I'm kind of wondering how many great and noble men there are in this world. She said, I don't know for sure, but I know this. There's one less than you think there are. I have to mention one other hero I had. We've got a lot of heroes. One of my heroes is my young cousin, a guy from Trinidad too, who built an empire, the Phil Long auto dealership. Jay Chimino, where are you, Jay? My cousin there, my young cousin. I'm really proud of that guy because besides that, he always loans me a great car when I'm in Colorado. Well, I can't tell you how humble I am about being in Colorado Hall of Fame. I left here a long time ago, and but I never have forgotten what a great place this is. Thank you very much.